The dressing room mirror with my name on his tape. The tape strip on the mirror shouldn't have had my name. Dressing rooms at the Orpheum always carry a grid of thin white labels. Actor last names in block letters, no sentiment, only a map for makeup and nerves. But on the second mirror from the door, under a line of tired bulbs, someone had peeled off J. McArdle and stuck a new strip crooked over the old glue, for Reed. Beneath, penned in quick black, stage left, 11, 10 p.m. See, the letters were decisive. The tape was not. I tune and maintain the theater's microphones, the kind that want to be invisibly brave. I know where breath hides in the proscenium and which curtains are likely to gossip. Most days I smell like gaffer's tape and warm dust. My partner, Mason, designs exhibitions for the museum 2 blocks over where donors like to pose with light. We share a rent, shelves, and a rule that keeps us honest. 2 glasses of water before any sentence that might change a day. He'd come home smelling like cedar in the second hour of a lobby. He kissed the corner of my mouth exactly, as if precision could pass for tenderness, and showered like water could erase a paragraph. They roped me into a donor tour after rehearsal, he said. Late, but harmless. He slept on his side in a posture that suggested he'd negotiated a boundary outside and brought the habit home. On the call board, a Xerox of tonight's schedule listed "Fight Call" in capital letters, fists and faux blood and choreography designed to look lawless. I checked the lavaliers, the packs, the tiny gray dots that make voices behave. When I looked up, my name on a mirror had become a neon sign I could feel with my teeth. Cement Cameron, lead actor, tenor who could make a balcony forget its knees, taller in ordinary rooms than he looked under lights, face you could light with a candle and sell a seat. He joked with me across mic checks and sent me coffee once after an opening night where his heartbeat fried a transmitter, and we both pretended not to care that our hands had almost touched. I found him where the tape said. Stage left smelled like rope and ambition. A ghost light stood at center, the polite bare bulb that theaters leave when rooms need to remember not to be arrogant. Cameron leaned against the leg of a fly system tower with a posture you could move a plot on. His hands were clean, which in this building meant he planned to touch nothing and everything. You came, he said, not like a victory, but like gravity had paid its bill. You tore someone else's label for mine, I said. The tape complained. He didn't come closer. He let the air do half the work, and the air agreed. On an apple box at his elbow, 2 paper cups sweated without asking to be relevant. He slid one to me with a finger that made the gesture too careful to be casual. Our hands didn't touch. It would have been indecent to let them. He thinks he's meeting me here to end it politely, he said, and didn't look away. He promised your marketing director he wouldn't ruin the mood near the donors. I thought you should have the room before he rehearses contrition. How long? I asked. The question entered the understage like a cue, and the room behaved. 8 months, he said. He didn't add flourishes. Started with rain and an elevator that liked its reflection, a lobby that sells permission in carpet and good ice. I ended it twice. He sent me a photo of your breakfast with a complaint about my vowels. I respected his emails more than his ethics. Lights hummed overhead. Far upstage a flyman coughed and decided to be somewhere else. I watched Cameron watching the water bead on my cup and recognized the choreography of restraint. He reached toward my wrist and stopped an inch away. Heat made itself known in the space between. That inch had rules. He followed them. The restraint was its own kind of theater. The door from the wing opened with the diplomatic sigh of a hinge trying to keep its job. Mason stepped in the way he steps into galleries, composed, competent, as if the floor had designed itself to still be under him. He saw me. He saw Cameron. He saw the tape. He closed the door behind him gently because he was trained to respect objects even when he had disrespected people. "Okay," he said, and it was the best thing he could have said. "You could have kept my name off a mirror I don't use," I said. "Instead, here we are." "I chose incompetence," he said, and I let myself love him for nomming the noun correctly. Then cowardice. I cheated. I told myself it was weather and that home is a noun that can survive rain. I told myself your patience is elastic because your job is to make invisible things behave. I called spark structure. I want to stop hearing me. Cameron had moved to the dimmer rack like oxygen required commentary. He lifted a hand toward my neck, stopped at that unbroken inch, and set it down on his own chest as if the gesture needed to complete somewhere. The ghost light flickered once, in the tidy little way electricity uses to express opinion. "What do you want me to do?" Mason asked. His hand stayed in open ground. He's learned, I thought, reaching is a contract the wrists sign before the brain reads it. "You'll end it," I said. "You'll sleep on the couch we refuse to call a guest anything. Next week you'll tell me what this was twice. Once in your museum voice that spackles bone, once with small words. I'll decide what my hands can hold without lying to my wrists." "I'll do that," he said, and it didn't feel like a line reading. Cameron blew out a breath with precisely the amount of theater we could afford. He stepped close enough that his mouth could have found my ear if he'd needed it, but it didn't. Warmth mapped my jaw without touching the road. "Thank you for not making me your lesson," he said soft enough the ghost light didn't object. "We both would have believed you." He disappeared into the wing without letting the door pretend it was punctuation. Mason and I stood with the ghost light between us like a small public promise. The stage floor looked ready for a fight. The tape marks waited in quiet good faith. "I'm not leaving tonight," I said. "We'll walk home without touching. We'll wait at crosswalks because other people's knees and our better natures both deserve seconds. You'll sleep on the couch. Tomorrow you'll end it without complimenting him. Next week you'll bring me small words." He nodded. He didn't cry. I still loved him for that. House lights rose a degree as the lobby started to remember people. We went out the side door into air that didn't feel obligated to be a metaphor. In the alley, the city rehearsed its own noises. At the corner, a cyclist shaved the curb and Mason's palm rose in reflex, hovering near my hip, a mercy both of us wanted and neither of us signed for. I didn't lean. Boredom, correctly applied, keeps locks honest and mornings possible. At home, the kettle auditioned and I declined to cast it. He set blankets on the couch with curator care, the way he arranges sightlines for donors who think they love color. I slept in a bed that had decided to be neutral. He returned from the lobby that sells permission the next morning smelling like nothing, the correct cologne for adulthood. He said he had ended it. He told me the truth twice. In museum voice, context, sequence, the admission of curation. In small words, he liked being two men because one of them wasn't tired. He mistook adrenaline for architecture. He could be one person if I let him do the work. Letting is not noble. It's arithmetic with a conscience. He slept on the couch for 6 nights and relearned the distance between our door and our bed like a route you don't brag about. On the 7th, he came to me with hands that remembered the lazy precision we taught each other, when love was still new enough to be tender without trying. There is an erotics of restraint that doesn't announce itself. There is a thrill in choosing not to ruin morning. Cameron texted 2 days later, "Thank you for telling the truth under light that lies for a living." I wrote back, "Try it in fluorescent." He didn't reply, which was the second best thing he did. Work stayed exact and happily unimpressed by narrative. An understudy's Mike Pack tried to quit mid-ballad. I coaxed it back with a piece of foil and an apology. A chorus girl showed me a bruise shaped like a stage manager's bad idea. I taped her ankle with a care that made us both feel like manufacturing mercy might be a trade worth teaching. During a matinee, a child laughed in the wrong place, and the sound made something in my chest decide to be loyal again. A week later, I saw Cameron by the stage door signing a program for a boy who was trying not to shake. He looked smaller. Maybe my anger had stopped needing him to be tall. He said hello without trying to own my afternoon. He did not smell like cedar. The air between us behaved itself. He left without auditioning for a moral. Here is the part that never fills the house. I wanted him. Not the future, not the press, him. The inch, the heat, the way a hand can behave without touching and still be unmistakably a hand. I wanted to make a beautiful mistake I could narrate elegantly on the walk home. I did not. Wanting is a sentence, not a command. Bodies vote. Ethics count. Boredom is a mercy that lets you like yourself at noon. Mason and I adjusted the frame. 2 glasses before 3 sentences. Less reach, better touch. We stopped letting the kettle decide tone. At openings, we stand by exits not because we plan to leave, but because rooms breathe better when doors aren't theirs. He keeps his phone face down on the console like a man who has learned that attention is design, not evidence. I left the tape strip with my name stuck to the mirror too long. The residue felt honest. One night the director asked me to stand center, just a second, so he could check a cue against a body. The ghost light was off. The house was dark in that cooperative way only an old theater knows. I felt the stage breathe under my soles. I set my cup down on the mark labeled with a bright R. The cue hit like a truth well-timed, soft, exact, and useful. If another label appears with my name stuck where math should go, I'll bring water. I'll choose a place to stand where the exit is obvious, and I won't call that cowardice. If a hand lifts toward my neck, I'll allow the inch to exist, and I'll answer with a decision I can carry past breakfast. I will keep choosing verbs that keep us possible. End, stay, tell, work, touch, wait. And when I swap a dead battery backstage and hear the faint, clean click of the pack admitting current, when a voice returns to itself without needing to shout, I will think of the mirror with my name on borrowed tape, and the night we declined a finale in favor of repair. And I will call that deliberate air the most difficult thing I know how to make, and the only thing that still holds when daylight forgets its lines.